Good evening, everyone. This is Michael Manchos, Chairman of the Board of Finance. This is our special meeting, Thursday, February 18th, 5:30. I hereby call the special meeting of the Board of Finance Commission to order. Please allow me to confirm those members, staff, and anticipated participants are present and can hear me. I will ask the moderator to confirm the digital identity of each of the aforementioned participants after affirmative identification. Members, when I call your name, please respond with the affirmative. Vice Chairman John Krzyzewski.
Here.
Dane Krzyzewski. See Dane. Steve Kirsch.
Here.
Rebecca O'Donnell.
Here.
Lynn Wells.
Here.
We have First Selectman Ken Kellogg. We have Treasurer Pat O'Hara.
Yes.
Ron Bonofsky.
Yes.
And Heidi Mead.
Here.
And I think I see Deb just popped on there too.
Deb Heim.
All right.
And it looks like Dane has just arrived.
Great. Dane?
Hi, President. Sorry, I'm late.
Great. Perfect timing. You just snuck it in under the wire. Steve saved you. I hereby declare we have a quorum and call this meeting to order. Copy of the agenda and any related materials have been posted. It can be found on the Town of Monroe's website for public inspection. This public meeting is being conducted remotely in compliance with Section 1 of Governmental Office Executive Order 7B, dated March 14, 2020, using GoToMeeting electronic conference technology. Using the technology, public shall participate in real time in this meeting via computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone. Using the access information set forth in the meeting agenda, please be advised that each meeting has unique participation information, so be sure you have access to the correct meeting. Notice is hereby given that only 250 participants may access this remote electronic public meeting at one time. Access this meeting using this technology is granted solely by the technology provider on a first access basis and is not controlled by the Town of Monroe. While it's anticipated we will not exceed this participation limit to this meeting, should it appear we are approaching said limit, that if any member of the public is denied access to this meeting, I, as chairman, reserve the right to adjourn the meeting to start a later date using technology appropriate to ensure all members of the public may participate. Please take note of the following regarding this remote electronic public meeting. This meeting has conducted in real time. The meeting is open to the public, and any members of the public may listen or view this meeting anonymously. If this meeting is being recorded, and while we ask that you mute your microphones unless recognized to speak, that anything you say, do, or display on your screen may become part of the recording. That the recording shall be posted to the town's website within 7 days. That the recording shall be made available to the public within a reasonable time. This meeting shall follow standard parliamentary procedure. However, I ask participants to follow the special rules. In addition, please mute your microphone so as to reduce background noise anytime you're not speaking. Prior to speaking on each occasion, each speaker should clearly state their name and title for the record. The use of the chat feature is prohibited and will not be considered during the meeting if in use. As set forth in the agenda, we will feature public participation. I have not received any comments from the public between the date of the agenda was posted and 1 hour between the start of the meeting. Now we turn to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, allow me to cover some ground rules of this remote meeting to ensure effective, clear conduct of business and accurate recording. I, as the chair, will introduce each matter on the agenda. If this vote is anticipated, I will ask for motion in a second. After the introduction of the matter, or upon motion, I'll invite each member by name for discussion. After all members have had an opportunity to speak for the first time, I will repeat the invite to each member in the same order until there is no further comment. Please hold your comments until all are recognized. Everyone will have an equal opportunity to speak. Upon conclusion of the discussion, I will call for a vote on the motion if applicable or take other action to conclude each matter in the agenda. All votes taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Please remember to mute your phone, computer while you're not speaking. Please also remember to speak clearly. It helps generate an accurate record of minutes. All right. First item, review of the minutes, voting record for January 21st.
Steve Kirsch, Board of Finance. I move to approve the meeting minutes and voting record for January 21, 2021.
Second.
Second, Rebecca O'Donnell.
Thank you, Rebecca. Any discussion, questions, issues? Hearing none, let's make the vote. John?
Aye.
Jane?
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Rebecca,
Aye.
Donna,
Aye.
and myself, aye. Right. Very good. First selectman, Nero.
Thank you, Mike. I actually have nothing other than a couple items that are on under new business, which we can talk about at that time. Just, crafted a draft agenda for the entire budget process, incorporating some of the tentative dates we set. So we'll talk about that later on. And I can defer my comments on the Munistat thing until you get to that item on your business, on your new business.
Very good. Appreciate it. Next up, public participation. Anybody? All right. Hearing none, we'll move on to unfinished business. We've talked about it a number of times. We'll skip through that. We have two items on new business tonight. The first one is the budget meeting dates. Ken has put together a very nice schedule that is in your packet. Again, obviously, the dates that we work on, we have a lot of flexibility on. We've got about a month with the budget once it comes to this board. We've scheduled some tentative dates. Basically, we've got 2 regular meetings and 3 additional meetings in between to allow us to do that. We can always amend and add as we see fit or we need as we're making progress going along. So this is not to be a permanent schedule, but it's just to put something on paper that everybody can follow along. We have our meeting with the town council right following this one, which will kind of kick off the process for them. We've also piggybacked our public hearing to coincide with our regular meeting, just to the idea of trying to save as many nights as possible. So anybody have questions, concerns, thoughts regarding the dates as proposed?
Mike, Steve Kirsch, please. Regarding the proposed dates, I checked my calendar. I'm good with those dates. I'm wondering if the other board members have done the same, and if we could, if so, if we could make those more than a proposed date tonight so that people can lock in their calendars. Obviously, if we have to change something, we do. Or if people
Correct.
cannot make those dates, can we do an alternate date tonight?
That was the ideal situation. Right? So if we could do that, that'd be wonderful. Again, everybody's obviously we're a month out. So in this world today, I know schedules change, but since most of this is remote, hopefully we can have an easier time getting everybody together.
So for me,
Steve, I appreciate that.
For me, those 3 dates, those 3 middle dates of the 25th, of March 25th, April 1st, and April 7th are good for me.
All right. As long as you're on good behavior on April Fool's Day.
Yeah, well.
There you go.
Okay.
John, how do you look for you?
Yeah, John, those dates are all good. I'm okay for right now. Thanks.
Mike, this is Rebecca O'Donnell. Those dates are fine for me as well.
Terrific. All right. Dane, how do we look?
Those dates work for me.
Okay. Donna, you're the last one.
Yep, they're fine for me too.
All right. And they work just fine for me. So let's, should we make a motion to approve those dates, Ken?
You don't necessarily have to. I mean, based on the consensus, I can
Got it. That's what I thought. I just want to make sure I wasn't messing something up. So perfect. So we have a consensus to those dates.
Yeah, I will
Pending
revise,
any changes.
Yeah, I will revise the schedule that is posted on the website. And as always, once you formally notice the meeting, that will be when they will go on the meeting calendar. But this will be on the budget in that budget monroect.org/budget link on the town website, so people can find the tentative dates.
Perfect. Okay. And just so everybody's clear, I mean, on the the approach with tonight's meeting, it's basically just kind of kick off with town council, set some ground rules. We've basically, over the past 4 or 5 years, kind of done it the same way with council, where we're going to give some high-level advice on where we see things, where we see issues, and then let them kind of go after the departments and go after the personnel. And as much as humanly possible, we're going to stick to the finance part of the budget. So, we'll concentrate on revenue and fund balance and mill rates and all those kind of fun things. And I would really not like to undo some of the hard work they did, like was done a number of years ago. And so hopefully they'll spend a lot of time, working with Ken and dealing with the individual things. And then we can kind of take the bigger high-level approach and get this thing finished up nicely. All right. Ken, you want to talk about the Munistat? Well,
I'll be happy to kind of give it an overview, and Ron can fill in any gaps or any questions you may have. But basically, I think you're all familiar with the fact that we had, it was back in 2019, I believe, when we had discussed kind of moving our municipal advisor services. That's the company that assists us in all the bond issuance and ongoing disclosures related to that, over to Hilltop Securities. And that we did primarily, fundamentally, because our primary contact, who's been kind of with the town in this regard for 18 years, was becoming part of Hilltop. And the historical and institutional knowledge, I think everyone felt was of the utmost value, and we've been extremely pleased with the service that he has provided to us. And I know that Mike and I have been, as Ron, Mike and I have all been on on rating calls with rating agencies, and he's a tremendous value in that arena as well. So that said, Ron had gotten a call recently that made us aware that Hilltop had somewhat abruptly closed their Connecticut offices, and we subsequently found out that they would continue servicing us. However, our primary point of contact was already gone, and given that that is kind of why we stuck with Hilltop.
Move the relationship, right?
Yeah, the concept was the company he has now gone to is Munistat. They have offered to provide their services in the same financial terms as Hilltop was providing us. So we retain that point of contact, that knowledge. I have a client list from Munistat of Connecticut municipalities, which is, it's a page long in a very small font. I don't even, this is probably at least 50 towns on this list, although I don't know.
I think that's correct, Ken. I think it was 50.
Yeah, so we got a lot of references here. So I wanted to make sure that the Board of Finance was aware of this and had the opportunity to, certainly raise any concerns they may have, because I certainly want to make sure that when council entertains this, that they're aware of either your consensus or any concerns. I am asking council to entertain this during tonight's special meeting because there is an ongoing disclosure requirement that's due the end of this month, and the extra days would be helpful. So and we'd rather have it continue to be done by the gentleman who has been with us again in this capacity for 18 years. So did I forget anything, Ron, that you want to bring up?
No, Ken, you summed it up very well.
Okay, thanks.
And I have a very good relationship with Bill over the years, and he really brings a lot of value. So I'm 100% comfortable and think it's just a natural move. So glad you brought it to our attention, just so everybody's aware of it. But I don't foresee the council will have any issues with it. If anybody else has questions for Ken or Ron regarding this, please feel free to jump in.
Sure, John Stashevsky, Vice Chair. Oh, sorry, Steve.
No, go ahead, John.
So just to clarify, Ken, you said that the fees are the same as what we've had historically?
Yeah, it's the same financial terms as we had under Hilltop.
So the only thing we don't know is if we did an RFP, if we'd get better terms, but because of the historical knowledge, I can't imagine it would be a material difference anyway. So I just want to clarify that we're being consistent. Thanks.
I would agree. Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, John.
Sorry, Steve. Go right ahead.
Steve?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ken, for your explanation. When I saw this in the package and read through it, I wondered why we were doing this. I then saw your letter to the town council, so that explained it. I only have one question. We're leaving Hilltop because they're no longer in Connecticut. Is this new vendor in Connecticut, or it's just that the person we were working with is in Connecticut? Because I noticed in the contract document that we send documents to their address in Port Jefferson. So what's the in-state, out-state?
Ron may have more specifics, but my understanding is they do have Connecticut offices.
They will be opening a Connecticut office with the addition of Bill Lindsay and his partner.
Okay.
The Hilltop no longer has a Connecticut office, and they would have been servicing us out of their Providence, Rhode Island office.
Right, and I just wanted to clarify that they, if an office matters, then there was nothing in this document that I saw, unless I missed it, that talked to them having an office in Connecticut. So with that piece of information, I'm good to go. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Rebecca O'Donnell, Board of Finance. I just had a question because I was surprised. Is there any additional vetting that the town does? I know that you're following a contact in the knowledge, but did you vet and look into the company that he's going to so that they don't shut their doors? I guess I'm just curious as to, we're following a resource, but do you also want to vet the company
It
that we're
sounds like
going
they
to?
had quite a few. I mean, they had 50 towns in Connecticut that they provide services to. So I would assume that's the reference list you went with, right?
That's correct, Mike. As far
Or
as
we just take it at surface level? You don't.
well,
I'm just curious if there was any additional insights.
So Rebecca, all the work would be performed out of the Connecticut office. Now, is there the risk of the relationship between the Connecticut office and the main office going south, like it did with Hilltop? I guess that's a risk. What I wanted to do was I wanted to retain the relationship we have with our main contact. And if we were going to go out to RFP for this service, which I'm not necessarily suggesting, I wouldn't want to be forced to use Hilltop under the scenario that we were presented here.
Okay.
Without our main contact even being there, which was, as Ken had discussed earlier, was the main reason we went there to begin with.
Right. No, and I fully support, I'm trusting that 18 years of a relationship is worthwhile. I just want to be sure that we're not walking into the same scenario given, some of the climate that we're experiencing still. So,
Fair enough.
that's just where my head was going is, if you're going to continue to follow a person, you might have to be doing this multiple times, but hopefully not.
Let's hope not.
Ken Kellogg. Yeah, no, it's a fair question, Rebecca, but I think, Ron did, do some research and made sure Unisat is an established organization. It's not like this is, a startup or something like that. So, I mean.
Right. Okay. No, and yeah, I'm good. I trust, but it's just something to throw out there because that would be my concern. That's all.
All right. Anybody else have any questions?
This is Dane Kirk Navy with Board of Finance. I just had a quick question. Just wanted to clarify. So are there any fees at all relating to the termination of the actual relationship with Hilltop, or is that not come into account?
No, there are no fees regarding terminating that relationship.
Okay. And do we know how Munistat compares to Hilltop in just general terms of their resources or size compared to Hilltop? Because I know Hilltop, and I think Hilltop's a fairly large muni advisor. So I was just wondering if anyone knew how they compare in terms of resources and size.
Yeah, so Munisat is much smaller. They have a New York office. With the addition of this second office, they would have a Connecticut office, whereas Hilltop did have more of a national footprint. Previously, Bill and his partner were, on their own. They just had their Connecticut office, and we had that relationship for I'm going to say about 15 years. What happened there was they found it just too hard to deal with as a boutique office with the regulations. So that's why they hooked up with Hilltop in the first place. So they will be larger than what they were as just IBIC, which was what they were prior to Hilltop. But no, they don't have the national footprint of a Hilltop.
Okay, got it.
All good? All right. We're going to take a quick run through this because we are going to try to wrap up and get over to the board of town council meeting. So anybody have questions on the general fund? If not, we'll just jump right to the tax collector.
As you see, at the close of January, we were right on target, and I just want to bring you to the February's report that these numbers are as of February 15th, and the only report I had last year was February 20th. So there is 5 more days in between there, but we seem to be right on target with the collections last year to this year. And as you see that to budget, we are like 3 million over, what you budgeted to what we collected.
Okay, that's great news. Anybody have any questions
We'll go
for Deb?
into the reserve for next year.
Exactly.
Steve Kirsch, I just wanted to thank Deb for providing the February 15th update. That was really very useful to see the difference between the end of the month of January and what's come in. And hopefully you'll get some more dollars in before the end of the year.
Yes, the reminder notices will go out next month to try to get people to pay before the interest goes higher for April. So like the first week of March, I'll get those notices out so people are aware that to get it in with that lower interest rate before the higher interest.
That's a really good point. I'm glad you mentioned that, and hopefully that'll get picked up to the public at large through this meeting as well, because I'd like everybody to take advantage of and not get hit if they can afford to. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Mike.
Treasurer?
Nothing much has changed in the big picture in terms of interest rates. The state stiff rate is currently still 0.14%. Our first 3-month CD of $10 million at 0.12% actually flipped over today. Newtown Savings Bank had offered us a rate. We asked them to go a little higher, and so the 3-month CD has now been flipped into 0.20. And everything is pretty much continuing as before.
So Pat, you're saying as of today, we started a new 3-month?
Correct.
Thank you.
And we went from 0.12 to 0.20.
Yep, that I got.
Right.
It.
Yeah, percentage, small dollars. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. The last thing is just basically review on the Board of Ed side. I don't know if I see Joe's with us there. If there's anything you wanted to bring to our attention, or Ron, before we wrap it up.
Thanks, Ken. Joe Cobbs, the superintendent.
pretty much status quo for the most part. I know part of the update is usually a special ed update. I'll just reiterate what Darlene Fensor reported at the Board of Education meeting on Tuesday night. Financially trending well right now. We have added some students. We're at a total of 462 special ed students. We finished the year last year with 468. This is the time of the year where we start to see, the midpoint of the year is, as we, the time when we usually identify students with gaps. So we anticipate, that number to, possibly grow. The other, we are expecting there to be some financial changes, but we're waiting to see where that kind of the dust settles there. So I think, whereas our financials were pretty much the same in February as they were in January, I think when we get to March, we might have a little bit different picture to share with you folks. The only other piece is one concern, just moving forward, always remains enrollment. It's been such a an X factor in everything that's been going on with COVID. And we have kindergarten registration information night tonight. We do open up registration early, just as a point of reference. Fawn Hollow has roughly the same number of students currently registered for next year's kindergarten as we have in kindergarten this year. So I know I talked about this in the past about, parents that may have kept their kids out of kindergarten, or may have sent their kids to kindergarten at a kinder care or a parochial school that may be coming back next year. But we won't have fixed hard numbers on that for a little while, but we'll keep you guys abreast as those numbers fluctuate.
Terrific. Okay. And Joe, just so you know, I mean, if there's specific dates on our schedule going forward that works better for the Board of Ed, you can certainly get first pick. So whatever works for you as well.
Thanks.
Obviously, those sometimes can be long nights.
Thanks.
All right. Anybody have anything else before we switch over? All right. Someone want to make the motion? Stevie boy.
Steve Kirsch, motion to adjourn.
All right. Thank you, guys. I'll see you in 2 minutes.